to the place in the middle of the sun. And we'll sing this song, sing it one by one.
We want to introduce you to Molly and Nikki, best friends and the hosts of the groundbreaking podcast from Wondery, Dying for Sex. Molly is 38, recently single, and in the midst of a sexual renaissance. And she was recently diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. Her and Nikki are writing the next chapter in a remarkable story of a decades-long friendship. In this 6-part miniseries, Nikki and Molly recount their momentous and outrageous sexual escapades as only best friends can. Dying for Sex is about lust, love, and exploring relationships. But it's also a story of friendship, self-discovery, and making the best of every moment. You're about to hear a preview of Wondery's Dying for Sex. While you're listening, make sure to subscribe to Dying for Sex and other great shows from Wondery on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening right now. Enjoy!
A quick note before we start. In case the title doesn't give it away, this podcast has a lot of frank talk about sex. So let's backtrack and go to where your health was during the time of the story that we're going to tell.
So I had just traveled to New York. So I had flown to New York and back, which completely decimated my immune system. I had a stressful trip. You were there with me.
I'm stressed. My best friend Molly and I can talk about anything, anywhere. Today, we're in a small, cramped recording studio in West LA. It has scuffed white walls, a couple of beat-up office chairs. Molly looks completely out of place. Short blonde hair, blue eyes, and flawless skin. And she's wearing a skimpy tank top and tight black jeans. Someone would never even guess she was sick. But she is.
So I came back and I had an entire list of that happened to me health-wise. I was hospitalized because I couldn't keep food in. So I was hospitalized and sick.
First of all, can you just stop complaining?
Right, exactly.
You're such a complainer.
Exactly. I still managed to drive everywhere. That was too much.
I think they call that gallows humor.
I'm not saying. I know. I shouldn't even say that.
Molly and I use it a lot. They say laughter is the best medicine and all that. We've cried together a lot too. But when Molly learned she was terminal, she made a decision. If she only had a few years to live, she was going to experience life in a completely new way. And it was going to be epic. Okay, 3, 2. You're listening to Dying for Sex.
I'm Molly. I'm 44 and I have stage 4 breast cancer. Technically, I'm dying, but aren't we all?
I'm Nikki.
My best friend in the world.
Yeah, we've known each other for 20 years.
And you know everything I've been going through in that time. Getting diagnosed as terminal, leaving my husband, starting to have sexual escapades to feel alive.
And let me tell you, these sex stories, they are so damn interesting that we had to make a podcast about it. And about our friendship.
Yes, about our friendship. Do you know that our friendship has given me so much meaning in the face of all of this? You are actually one of the people that makes me want to continue to live.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love you. Okay, let's get back to the sex.
Okay.
Can I ask you this?
Yeah.
When, in God's name, did you have time in all of this to have a f***ing sexual awakening? How did that happen for you?
Okay, well, you kind of have to rewind. So after I had the surgeries and the radiation, I was on this hormone therapy, which is supposed to kind of squash your libido, but it had the opposite reaction. I was horny all the time. I felt like a teenager. And I don't know what happens. But all of a sudden I was I just need sex everywhere.
Our lives were so different. It's crazy when I think about it. I had a boyfriend and 2 stepkids. While I was at home making avocado toast, Molly was dealing with cancer meds and having a full-on sexual awakening.
I started to learn my body and stuff that I hadn't. I mean, I was always a sexual person, but whatever. And at the same time, I had found this app, which was kind of like an innocent app. It was called Face Feed. You would take a picture of yourself, write a message, and you would send it to somebody that you wanted to talk to, anywhere in the world. And then they would respond with a selfie. It was all selfie-based. But, sometimes the pictures would start to get a little bit racy.
Oh.
And the thing was, I was taking these pictures, and then people, like men would tell me that I was attractive, and I was like, kind of felt like I just really needed it,
Yeah.
you know?
Okay.
Yeah. So there was one kid that I was talking to. I want to say he was from Italy or something. Anyway.
Let's call him Vincenzo.
I like it.
I like giving names.
I like it. Yeah, you're good at
Vincenzo.
that. You're good
I
at
know,
that.
I love it.
Okay. So Vincenzo was like, hey, you want to migrate to Snapchat? And I was like, what the f*** is Snapchat?
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh, okay, give me a few minutes to download this thing.
What's my password?
Exactly.
So then where did it go? Like, was this like your first?
So Vincenzo and he was like showing me how to do the Snapchat thing. And like, you know, Vincenzo was great. He was like turning all of his stuff into black and white with these filters. And I was like, I don't fucking know. I'm on my bath mat with like terrible lighting, you know, gyrating at the phone. And like, I have no idea what I'm doing. But it was fantastic.
So
it was
wait,
like,
were you
know,
having like Snapchat sex?
Yeah, it was basically Snapchat sex.
I've never done that. I didn't know it existed, but I guess
I mean, it must.
What's going on with the husband in this situation?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
does he fall on this? And
Yeah. So he came home and I was like radiant, you know. I was like,
He's like, you look so
you
pleased.
look kind of amazing. I was just like, my body had gotten what it needed, but I was also like filled with anxiety because I was like, oh my God, does this make me a cheater? Because like, I'm not a cheater. I'd never cheated on somebody in my whole life. Like, I was very loyal, but like, you know, I was torn because this is something that I really, really needed. And it was, you know, so it filled something, but at the same time, like, what have I
Caused
done?
a whole new lump of like anxiety for you.
It did. So it was like his first night back, we're lying in bed and I'm sitting there like my eyes are wide open in the dark and my heart is racing and I confess and I tell him what happened and his reaction was,